The next couple of minutes, you will go on the exciting journey to a faraway land called Ukraine. Chernobyl, war with Russia, annexed Crimea. It is a country of freedom and creativity, ambitious ideas, and obviously a great music. But let's start from the very beginning. Ukraine is the biggest country in Europe. It is a very ancient nation. Starting from the 9th century, Ukrainian music covers diverse and multiple component elements of the music that is found in the Western and Eastern musical civilization. Several of its ethnic groups living within Ukraine have their own unique musical traditions. Not to make it boring, here are two resources for your exciting listening. But beware, it might be something you have never heard before. This is from a digital archive, Folk Songs of Ukraine, which hosts more than 400 recordings of songs, lyrics, and transcriptions of a cappella polyphony divided into 13 regions and 10 genres. If you'd like to lose a few hours of your weekend in some new music, this is the best choice. As well as another great project, polyphony. When Hungarian musician Miklos Both came up with the idea of going on an ethnographic expedition around Ukraine to record traditional songs, he could hardly believe the project would last more than several months. 6 years later, however, the polyphony project has turned into the largest digital archive of Ukrainian folk songs. All these ancient rhythms and singing traditions are quite popular nowadays in Ukraine as well. It perfectly suits futuristic electronic by Onukam, electro-trance formation Go A, who this year presented Ukraine on the biggest song competition on the continent called Eurovision. Or just simple mix of hard rock and national instruments, just like band Karna does. On another hand, not in so distant past, there was another Ukrainian music phenomenon called Mustache funk. Yes, you've heard it correctly, Mustache. Just look at these guys. In the late 60s and early 70s of the 20th century, we've experienced the golden epoch of our popular music. Hundreds of songs of exquisite beauty, groundbreaking sound, futuristic suits, hundreds of concerts around the country. It was just like the Beatlemania, but at the opposite side of Europe. All of that allowed super underground music to develop in sync with global music trends of that times. Obviously, it was inspired by some Western music, but it was also absorbed by some Ukrainian cool traditions, which made them quite unique. This music can be a great asset to the nerds who constantly search for some strange stuff. Now you will have not only well-known Turkish psychedelic rock, but also a Ukrainian mustache funk. But what about Ukraine today? Kiev has some cult techno music places such as Closer Club, rhythm bureau parties, festivals like Strichka and Brave Factory, and many others. Pandemic hit us all. But Ukraine is the country of freedom and creativity. That is why we were enjoying some vertical live concerts during that time. Because why not? It's safe and cool. You're in the hotel room, separated from the other people, watching the concert from your balcony, and the artists are in the opposite side of the street. Last year also inspired some cool digital projects, such as innovate, who filmed Ukrainian electronic artists in historical sites to attract more attention to local cultural heritage, or a proactive contrabass promo team who managed to run 4 online festivals and united all continents on Earth. Again, Ukraine is the country of freedom. That is why this year we had the biggest live music festival in whole Europe called Atlas Weekend. It hosted 600,000 people over 7 festival days. Unbelievable number in a post-pandemic world, right? And you are very much welcome to visit it next year. And what about some recommendations to your tomorrow's playlist? Here you are. When you join traditional Indian, Arabic, African, Ukrainian, and Australian instruments, as well as the powerful quartet members' voices, you get transnational, perhaps even some ethnochoic musics, where local culture is the epicenter. This is the most successful Ukrainian band abroad. They have played everywhere, from KXP to Glastonbury. Their mystic music accompanies numerous famous TV series, and even David Beckham chooses their music for his commercial. Ginger. Ginger is internationally the most accomplished Ukrainian metalcore progressive metal band in the history of our nation, who is currently signed by Napalm Records and has been successfully touring the world for a long time, shared the same stage numerous times with the bands who are at the top league of the industry. Artibot. Artibots are arguably Ukraine's biggest dance music export. They won the Breakthrough Artist Prize at the 2019 International DJ Award, scored 2019's top-selling tracks on Beatport numerous times, and toured around the globe. Alona. Even if you don't know a word in Ukrainian, you'll be hooked on rapper Alona Savchenko. New York Times put her in the list of 15 European pop acts who matter right now, comparing her to Azealia Banks. Ex-kindergarten teacher, now she's the most hyped name of local music, winning most of the awards on the continent. The Castle. Talking about melancholic but energetic ballads, The Castle is probably the first name to mention. With a mix of Arctic Monkeys and Michel Gurevich vibe, these Ukrainian bands sound like a world-class indie pop. Okay, if you want to start business here, what should you know first? Well, obviously some numbers. The population of Ukraine is around 42 million people, which is quite a lot in European dimension. We have 5 big cities with more than 1 million inhabitants. 2014 was a hard year for Ukraine. The majority of concerts with the foreign acts were cancelled. That forced the audience to pay attention to local artists, which was great, as they managed to grow the fan base significantly. We really hope that emerging acts will be able to use the second chance after the pandemic times as well. The biggest stadium concerts were played by the foreign bands like Depeche Mode, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Kiss, and especially Imagine Dragons, who've managed to sold out with 55,000 tickets. Along with them, we have some local names who can attract that amount of people as well. Rock band Okan Elze, pop star Monatic, or a composer, actor, and TV presenter Oleg Vinnik, to name a few. Listening habits of Ukrainian audience is pretty standard. Pop, rock, and electronic music are on the rise. Jazz and classical music live only in relatively small venues. Rap and hip-hop was never a big deal in Ukraine, but some interesting names now try to change the status quo. After Spotify has introduced to the Ukrainian market in 2020, we have all the major streaming platforms including Apple Music, YouTube Music, Deezer, and some more. You should definitely promote your music in Facebook and Instagram, which are the main social platforms in the country. Forget about Twitter. It was never a big deal over here. Along with that, shall I say, TikTok is also important? This brand new world changes too quickly. Do you want to know more? Then definitely check Music Expert Ukraine website for the direct contacts of labels, festivals, promoters, and the whole overview of the local music market. Thank you for your attention.